What's going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here. That's Dean 7904 if you want to get all technical. That is the daily fantasy handle around the industry. It is 5:20 on the East Coast, 2:20 West Coast, 4:20 Tennessee time. So, of course, that means it's time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It's called Grinderslive. Joining me today, King of GPPs, Andre. Talking some hoops today. We're actually gonna have some conversations, get to break down these games because it's not like a 9-game, 10-game, 11-game slate. We're looking at a 6-gamer. How are things in your world? Are we excited about the slate tonight?
Yeah, I am a little bit. Just trying to. I know basketball first couple of weeks of the season is hard to get adjusted and find out these rotations and minutes. But once I get settled in, I'm ready just to take off and start destroying everything.
Yeah, let's destroy it tonight, man. That's the tricky thing is it does take a couple weeks or so to figure out rotations. And in years past, you didn't necessarily have a bunch of dudes questionable all the time at the start of the season. And I made a list before the show, and we got a big old long list, despite the fact it's only 6 games as far as who's in, who's out, and who we are currently monitoring. I guess I can fire that off right now. Joel Embiid, like it's a day ending in Y, so like every single time I feel like he's going to be questionable, like for the foreseeable future. Like that's just going to be the deal. He is questionable tonight with his knee. That is the first game on the slate. That is 7 o'clock game. There's 2 games there, 7 o'clock. If he doesn't go, of course, there's Andre Drummond with revenge in his eyes against the Pistons. That'll be certainly really interesting if for whatever reason Embiid doesn't go. He's gone every single time for what it's worth so far this season. Shake Milton, we may see his debut tonight. He was upgraded to questionable with his ankle. Zach LaVine's dealing with what seems to be a pretty severe injury to his thumb. He is questionable, but by all means, everything you see out there, he's just going to play through it. I don't know how he's going to play, but I feel like a thumb would be important to shooting, but what do I know? He's currently questionable right now. Dallas has some issues. Porzingis is out with his back. Trey Burke's not playing. He's got a COVID protocol issue. Sterling Brown. I mean, these aren't like important pieces, but they steal a few minutes here and there. Sterling Brown is out with an ankle, and Boban has a back as well too. So they won't be able to play all 15 guys this game, unfortunately for them. That last time out was pretty hilarious. Jeremy Grant is questionable with his elbow. He did not play last game. If he doesn't go, man, I hope he goes because I never have to figure out Detroit. Detroit is always such a mess, and they don't give us their starting lineup until like 10 minutes before tip-off. But all right, keep an eye on that one for sure. That is a 7 o'clock game, so I imagine we'll have news on that. Both dudes named Bogdanovich. If your name is Bogdanovich, you're questionable tonight. Bojan not feeling particularly well, so he is a questionable. And his teammate Eric Pascal, he's got a face, so he's questionable. Bogdan for Atlanta. Atlanta's got a bunch of dudes. Well, mostly they're good to go. We'll see. Bogdanovich for Atlanta is questionable with his ankle. Trae Young has his shin. He's fine. Kevin Huerter's got an ankle. He's actually questionable. And Lou Williams is questionable with his ankle. Nerlens Noel still out with his knee. Dougie McDermott out with his knee for like several games. And the big one, I don't know how we're going to get away from this one in this slate. We'll talk about it in a second. Obviously, one of the first games on tap, 7 o'clock. Daniel Gafford is out with his quad. We saw last night, Montrezl Harrell, always a strong fantasy point rate player. And, presumably he's going to jump right at that starting rotation. Presumably he's going to play 30-plus minutes or so. I think he played 20 minutes in the second half last night. Man, that is chalk, but it's good chalk, right? Montrezl Harrell is just delicious chalk. I think it should be.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely great chalk. I love it tonight. I really honestly hope he still comes off the bench though, just to play that second unit to get a little bit more of the usage and still get the amount of minutes, just to keep the rotation intact and keep how he's been playing intact as well. Because I think it'll be also an easier matchup going against the backups versus going against Clint Capella, who's obviously 7'4". or 2.
Who do you think they start? If they don't start Harrell, like they start maybe maybe Denny Avdia.
Yeah, they could do that. Yeah, they could run a little bit big, but run a little bit more of a smaller lineup. I guess I can see that happening, but I don't know. I don't know anything about this coach really, about his about how, as far as like how he likes to play and what his mindset is. So, but he's a great player. I think he should play him regardless tonight, and honestly, just hopefully, like I said, I just hope that he comes off the bench just for production wise. Regardless, though, he's going to be productive. But I just don't want to also see him get in early foul trouble over some nonsense either.
Did you say Capella's 7'4", by the way? Is he really 7'4"?
Like 7'2", I think.
Is he? In my head, I feel like he's not that tall. Like I feel like he's like maybe like 6'11" or something. Maybe, I'm not trying to fact check you, but like I'm just surprised he's that tall. Let's go ahead and pull it up. Let's type it into the machine.
I am definitely pulling it up right now. I'm only 5'9", so everyone's taller than me. He's 6'10". You're right.
I assume you were I assume you were taller than 5'9".
I would.
You know who's sneaky tall? Derek Hardy. He's like 6'4".
Really?
Yeah. You ever make Hardy in person?
No, not yet. He lives in Jersey too. We should probably link up soon.
Yeah. You wouldn't see it coming, right?
No, I wouldn't see that coming. I would have thought he was my height.
Yeah. All right. Well, I thought so too, but I thought you were like 6'3". All right. So Atlanta's facing Washington 222.5, 222.5. I guess is a better way of saying that. Atlanta is a 2-point favorite here. We talked about the Harrell play. Can you know how many lineups you're running tonight? Have you figured that out just yet?
About like 100.
All right. So baseball, you probably never do it as far as a hitter. Football, maybe, I suppose you can in theory, but probably not. But basketball, do you just hit the lock button on somebody? You're making 100 lineups and saying, just lock in Harrell. Give me the path where he fails?
Foul trouble. I can see that happening. I'll definitely have I'm definitely going to probably be like right now. I think we haven't projected, at least on FanDuel. That's what I'm playing at tonight. He's probably 70% owned. I think he's probably worth every bit of that ownership, but I might be a little bit under, just a little bit. But he's still a phenomenal player. Not trying to take away from the play at all, but in GPPs, I like to try to get a little bit different and some other plays. Like I know we got I know we have like hardly any ownership on Julius Randle, who obviously can blow up at any given game, and you never know what can happen with Spencer Dinwiddie's out tonight with rest.
Yeah, I kind of anticipated that one. I was hoping it would happen later because he's coming back from a severe injury and it's a back-to-back, and
that changes everything. Yeah, he's going to play a lot of minutes, so he's probably going to be the starting lineup. I like this game a lot more now.
Oh man, yeah. So no Dinwiddie. I think Kyle Neto is actually off the injury report. I've not officially. It's like he was off a couple days ago. He's another guy that can get some run. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Didn't they? I feel like they started Holiday.
Aaron Holiday started for Beal. So whoever Spencer's direct backup is will start for him. So if it is Neto and Neto's good to go and not question, he's questionable right now. We have him listed as. So if he's not good to go, then I would expect Aaron Holiday. But if he is good to go, then I think it's going to be Neto.
Yeah, I meant to check this. I was on Twitter earlier and I saw that he was just like off the injury report. If you're off the injury report, I assume you're fine. So not like officially.
I'm seeing on our page we have him as questionable still.
All right, fair enough.
Why?
The other update, Jeremy Grant is a game time decision that is not helpful. Joel Embiid, Shake Milton, both game time decisions that again not helpful. Maybe they're going to do some pregame workout or something like that. Of course, those games. Well, 7:00 they tip off. Well, whatever, they lock at 7. They tip off like at 7:08 or 7:09, whatever it is.
Okay.
But got to keep an eye on that for sure. But yeah, so how about? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you're right. Neto is off the injury report. He's gonna play. So we just have to adjust our end on the back end. So
does Beal just take like 27 shots?
Hopefully, but he hasn't done that this yet. The season's like as far as he hasn't really been a high volume like shooter that I've known this season. I mean, he's shooting obviously 20 times in the last 2 games and 19 times in the first game. That's the game he missed. But the ball hasn't really just fallen into the basket more so than anything. So maybe that's why it doesn't seem like he's shooting a lot to me, in my opinion. But I I think you can go to Beal. I think he's a great tournament play, definitely. But at 8.7K, maybe you get him a little bit more too. He's going to have more ball handling responsibilities than he already does to begin with. I think that makes also maybe. I don't know about Neto. It makes him a good play, especially going to play 30 minutes, so he has the upside. I don't know about Aaron Holiday. Sorry, that's what I've been talking about. That that's to say, I don't know about as far as how many minutes he'll get. Because I think Neto will just get Beal's minutes. I mean, we'll get with Spencer's Dinwiddie's minutes. Holiday will come off the bench still then, and have probably about 20, 25 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure our projection team's on that, and soon enough we'll get a better update. Somebody that's actually dedicating that time right as opposed to like doing the show and all that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a more clarity on it. Maybe we'll get a starting lineup at some point too. I was pulling up the court IQ on the fly. I just wanted to see, fantasy points per minute and things like that. Let's see. Can we get the last 2 seasons? There it is. Last 2 seasons. That's what I want to see. Just kind of run the fantasy points per minute, the last 2 seasons on the court IQ. And who was I looking for? Yeah, Howell Neto was a 0.82 guy, not a great fantasy point minute player, but not terrible. We've seen what's his name has been awesome. Kuzma has been excellent, especially from a rebounding perspective. And there's a chance this game goes small. Again, how thin Washington is. Kuzma might play some 5 against a Collins or something like that. I think that's definitely something they could shake out. And if you want to buy that rebounding rate continues going forward, he's not a great shooter, but he's a willing shooter. He'll take shots, especially if Dinwiddie's out. I think Kuzma becomes a pretty strong play with a bit of an upside, with the potential of him playing the 5 as well. As far as Holiday, 0.69 fantasy points per minute in 75 minutes so far in Washington. That's not great, obviously. Isaiah Todd is a big dude. Like I don't know how much run or if any run he's going to get, but he's there. Like if they need some size, probably not going to play much, not really worth considering, but just trying to see where those minutes get delegated. But like for sure, Beal becomes an interesting tournament play, kind of a bump there. Not a great matchup against Atlanta. Atlanta, pretty solid defensive team. But, if he's going to chuck a bunch of times. And like you said, I'm pulling up, like so far this season, 25 shots, 22 shots, 19 shots, and he's only made 7, 8, and 7. The field goal percentage has been terrible. And just like we talked about Lillard last night, like you're going to bank on these guys just to have been historically really good shooters. And the sample of 3 games, they just forgot how to shoot. Like the Monstars are, all of a sudden playing them defensively or something like that. No, Beal's still a good shooter. He's going to be fine, and the invariance is going to work for him one of these days. So for sure, you can play him in tournaments. You got anything else on Washington until we kind of figure out what that starting rotation is?
No, that's all. That's all of a play. It's pretty much like 4 guys for me would be Neto because I know he's going to be in the starting lineup. I'm pretty sure I'm almost 80% sure it's going to be the starting lineup. Beal, I love a lot tonight now more as a play, and obviously with Montrezl Harrell and Kyle Kuzma, that's who I will go with. I wouldn't pretty much target anyone else from that team.
Yeah, I just did a refresh on our starting lineups page. It's not official, but our projection team is projecting that's just that with Neto drawing the start. Neto, Beal, KCP, Kuzma, and Harrell. As far as Atlanta, we talked about Bogdanovich being questionable. Herter questionable, Williams questionable. And it's the same deal with Atlanta. They're kind of sort of like Utah. Like you need people out to get interesting. They're just really deep. Well, Utah's a different conversation. They're just always priced appropriately, basically. But Atlanta's just a deep team. They're on a back-to-back, by the way, for what it's worth. Other teams on a back-to-back. Washington, both these teams are on a back-to-back. And then Memphis. We'll talk about them later, obviously. Trae Young is just not a player I play a lot. I think could always score 40 points in the bucket. He can, get going from assists as well too. But he's just, for me, not the same as a Luka or a Jokic or an Embiid when he's right. And when you consider the asking price, every once in a while, I miss out, but I just generally don't play him much. Sure, you could always play him, but I just don't. And also, again, the rest of the piece in this team, they can all sort of pick it up. They don't need him to go hero mode. That's not necessary. He does. He will. What are your thoughts as far as Trae Young?
I like Trae Young tonight. I like that. I like going. I think this game has the potential to go over the total a little bit too. Honestly, just because of the pieces, like you said, it could go small too. So Trae Young will be probably my favorite play from the game. Favorite play as far as one of the GPP plays from the game, just because like you said, he has the upside for a high fantasy point game, and this game is going to be competitive. At least we hope it will be. And pretty much he's like one of the only few pieces you could touch on this game, I feel. Besides maybe John Collins, because he's at a nice price on FanDuel at 6.4K, and Clint Capella, who's at 6.9K. And then he said, and Clint Capella is the same price, obviously, on DK as well. And John Collins is 6.3. So they're nicely priced, and those are only players I really would like to get to. The forward rotation is just, that gets a little bit tricky, because it's like you said, any one of those guys could go off, and you really need someone to go out, to be out to really have more of a clarity on who's going to have one of those good games or big games. But with their pricing being the way it is, and also being a smaller slate, we might have no choice but to go to some of these guys. I think in a little bit, even because just to get a little bit different in tournaments. So the two guys that I do like from Atlanta with that would be DeAndre Hunter, because he can play defense and has a steal upside and block upside, obviously on FanDuel, and Bojan Bogdanovic if he plays tonight. I know their fantasy, their usage has been down this year, mostly Bogdan's, Bogdan, sorry, just because of he's just been that, just because everyone else has been back, as far as with Cam Reddish being back and DeAndre Hunter. But I think they can still obviously have monster games at any given moment, because he's a good shooter, and he also is a good ball handler as well.
We're projecting Bogdanovic in. Where do those 29 minutes go if he does not play?
If Gallo was back,
he played last night, Gallinari, and he's one of those guys. I wouldn't be surprised if he on the back-to-back they don't play him. Yeah, but now we have to assume he's playing.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's playing too as well. So he's the one I would assume would take on those minutes, and then probably will split up between maybe Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter.
I'm trying to see if our projections team has updated this. It looks like they may have. Yeah, so let's see. This is with Spencer Dinwiddie out. I'm just trying to see what they did as far as delegating minutes. Harrell 35, Beal 35, Kuzma 33, KCP 30, Howell Neto 26. 4K on DK, 23 fantasy points as of right now. And that's, of course, under the presumption that he's going to draw the start. So he becomes interesting as a cheapie. Yeah. Good steals guy, too, I think. So on FanDuel, I don't know what his price is on FanDuel. I'm looking at DK right this second. What is he?
4.7.
Yeah, a little less appealing, but all right, fair enough. And then Holiday we have projected for 22 minutes, but we'll be on top of it as far as if Bogdanovic doesn't go. And we have Lou Williams questionable. I'm not even sure if he would play either way. He's missed, some games he's in, some games he's out. Herder, same deals. I think Herder is still questionable, right?
Herder is questionable, yes.
Yeah, we got 23 minutes going his way too. So Atlanta could become interesting if some things sort of fall their way. Anything else in this game? Do you want to give me your favorite play on both sides?
Obviously, Montrezl Harrell would be probably my favorite play overall in the game, obviously. Then followed by Bradley Beal, and then another play from Atlanta side would just be, I'll probably go more sort of John Collins and Clint Capella as those two on the Atlanta side, as just because of bigs and the lack of bigs that Washington's going to have.
All right, update on the Twitter. Trae Young, Kevin Herter, both remain probable. Bogdanovic, Lou Williams, both are game time decisions. So expect Herter and Young in. Bogdanovic and Lou Williams. Bogdanovic's more important than Williams, obviously, are game time decisions. And this is, again, something we should know before lock because, first game on the slate. Anything else here or moving on?
We can move on, definitely.
Detroit, Philadelphia, 213 is the total. Philadelphia, 10-point favorite. It's a low total and it's a bit of a big spread, potential blowout, and kind of a slog whenever Detroit's involved. So the Embiid question, right? You're getting him at a bit of a discount. He hasn't really been pushed when he plays as well. Like that's another thing. Like we haven't seen this is an incredible Embiid game and oh man, I didn't play Embiid, so just close your laptop. Hasn't happened just yet. As far as the minutes, he has gotten to at least 33. Probably not going to get much more than that. Thoughts if he's in? How much are you in on Embiid? Because I like him, but if there's a line of studs tonight, he's certainly behind Luka for me, and probably Curry.
Yeah, and I don't like projecting blowouts, but this game seems to hopefully have blowout rain all over it if Embiid plays and plays to the level that he's capable of playing. But I still think for the price that we have him at 9.5K is a good price on him. But this other studs I think I want to get to, and plus I like paying. I might want to pay up a little bit more. And when Montrezl Harrell being at that value, and I think we have players like Clint Capella who get his upside of Joel Embiid, as I mentioned before. Even Draymond Green too in the matchup against Memphis could still reach the upside of what Joel Embiid could do. If Joel Embiid doesn't go out and get you 60 or 70 fantasy points, but we know in the realm that those lower guys can get you in the realm of 40, 45, even maybe 50 fantasy points if they have a good game, if they have a great game. So I like being a little bit under the field on him. And I understand why people are going to him a lot tonight.
If Embiid doesn't go, how much of a lock is Andre Drummond?
Yeah, he might have to. You're gonna have to play them both. Like him and Harold are gonna probably be the locks on the slate. You can't avoid them too. Drummond just been killing it as on a point per minute basis, and his price is 5.7 on FanDuel, and
I think he's 4.9 on DK.
4.9. So it's a fair.
You can't
price.
avoid that.
But you can't afford. Yeah, like even now, he like I think if it was a bigger slate, he would be easier of a sneaky tournament play, even at his price points, because no one's going to want to pay that price, but we know he can still get there. Because even the first two games, just in 19 and 8, pretty much 19 minutes, 38 and 30 fantasy points. And then against the Knicks, he only played 14 minutes. And that's probably because I'm assuming foul trouble a little bit. He had 20 fantasy points. So his point per minute is just crazy. And his upside, you might even still honestly be able to play him to now and get that amount of fantasy points and still be fine if he was a little bit cheaper. But I think he's a good option and a lock, definitely for sure if he's out.
51 minutes so far this season, 1.69 DK points per minute, just phenomenal. Like we saw the other night, like it's possible to get there if you have 15 really excellent, like Dwayne Dedman. I don't know if you saw it with Miami. Like these guys can do it. These backup centers, a lot of them are really, really good fantasy point minute guys. Montrezl Harrell, we saw him jump, and now he's going to jump in the starting rotation. The guy he was replacing, Gafford, really strong fantasy point minute player. A lot of these centers just kind of are like that. And also, if you want to play that story, maybe they take, let's say Embiid does play, and maybe it's Philadelphia is up by 16 with 4 or 5 minutes left to go. They know he used to play for Detroit. He's got some friends over there. They know he wants to have. Maybe he doesn't say it or doesn't tell anybody. They know to give. Maybe let's give him a couple extra minutes. Let him have some fun out there. They're not going to blow the game, right? You wouldn't think. So maybe he gets 18 minutes, even if Embiid does play, right?
Yeah, he's been getting about 18 minutes if he plays. So I would assume, like, hopefully maybe it's 22, 24 minutes, because then that's a real conversation, because that price will be destroyed.
He can get you a cheap double-double for sure. I mean, again, that's more of a tournament idea. That's not something you play in your cash games. Not something I wouldn't advise in like a single entry, but like in a large field, go for it. Do you want to say hello to chat? What up, chat? We haven't said hello just yet. Hit the like button. We appreciate that when it comes to the old algorithm. Subscribe to our notifications. There's a showdown slate show later on tonight for football. Should be a great game, by the way. A great showdown game. Arizona and Green Bay. Should be fun for sure. Check that out later on tonight if you guys are playing football. Showdown slates. Fire off some questions. Devin, our producer extraordinaire, who's showing off all our tools as well. We're talking about the court IQ. We're talking about the lineup HQ with the projected minutes and the ownership and all that good stuff. You guys can use that at your own leisure. How do you do that? Get yourself $10 off your first month. Your first month of RG Premium, just basketball. You want just basketball? Sure, have at it. $10 off, or all the sports: football, baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, MMA, CSGO. I'm sure I missed something. Everything with the exception of NASCAR, $10 off that way as well. As far as your combo, get the extra videos, get crunch time, get the expert survey, the expert rankings, the core plays, all that good stuff, and much, much more. Fire off your question in chat. Give us the details. Let us know, is it for Yahoo? Is it for DK? Is it cash? Is it a tournament? Is it a single entry? Is it large field? The more details, the better chance we have of answering that question correctly. If Embiid is out, you can also play, obviously, Tobias gets a bump. If Tobias is fine either way. The FanDuel small forward position is dreadful, right? It's rough today.
It is. It's very rough. So a guy like Tobias is someone you want to play tonight, regardless. He he's worth that price, and he also is a little bit revenge narrative too, because he used to play for Detroit too. So I believe he played well against Detroit when he's been back there.
Other pieces, I don't know what to do with Milton. Like if Milton plays, I wouldn't think they would fully unleash him. I think he would hurt Maxey. I would imagine it would hurt Maxey.
Yeah,
Hasn't been great anyway.
yeah, I think
Thoughts?
so too. It definitely would hurt him. I think well, I don't even know. It depends how many minutes also Milton gets. If Milton doesn't get a full allotment of minutes, then I would say, all right, then we have to just still play Maxi. I think we still play Maxi regardless, because he can still work with the second unit. But I think that also will take away from Milton a little bit too, because he's going to be in the starting lineup. I think if he plays, unless Doc has said specifically he's coming off the bench. So that might mess up Milton a little bit. I wouldn't go with him in the first game as far as playing him outright. I probably would take the wait and see approach on Milton, but Maxey I think is still a good play because he'll be coming off the second unit and get more usage. I think.
I was going to guess that he plays 15 minutes. That was my best guess. He's interesting because he's 3K still minimum on DK, which 3K players are always kind of sort of something interesting. We're projecting 15 minutes, and that's a guess. I think it's an educated guess. That sounds about right to me. And if he plays 15 minutes, he probably isn't impactful. He steals a few minutes from a couple guys here and there, but probably not somebody that is going to put up 20 points. It's possible, sure. Maybe he plays 12. Maybe he plays 18. I don't know. It'd be nice to get a read on that. As far as Detroit, speaking of I don't know, Jeremy Grant is questionable. I don't know if they're going to play him or not. I would suspect no, but it's just a guess. We saw Kelly Olynyk jump in the starting lineup last game. He's a really good fan, not a great, basketball player as far as helping the team win, but who cares? That's not we don't care about that. If you're on the court and you're scoring fantasy points, that's the life we're about here. He's going to play 30 minutes or so. I know the matchup's not great either, but I like Olynyk if he draws the start. And if we have Grant being out, do you have a read on that situation?
This has happened a lot last year with Grant, though. I want to say he's going. I'm leaning more towards him not playing, but I don't know. Honestly, I can't get a full read on it. I've been trying to look into see if I get any type of like articles or anything about it, but I haven't seen anything yet from Detroit. But I think he doesn't play personally, so I'm assuming. So with that means assuming that I like Kelly Olynyk a lot tonight. He's a great fantasy point per minute. I think he's someone else you might want to consider, and that's another reason why I kind of don't like paying up for Embiid when I know that Kelly Olynyk could get that same amount of production too, and he's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, like we currently have Grant projected in for 33 minutes, and he's a fine play if he plays. Sadiq Bey, that price is getting a little bit out of hand, 6.8K on DK. I just have a hard time paying that off. Olynyk at 5.8. Again, under the presumption that Grant is out. Even Olynyk can get 20 minutes or so, 22 minutes or so if Grant does play. It's not nearly as appealing, and the route to fantasy point goodness is a little bit trickier to get to. I would also throw in Stewart on FanDuel just because of his stocks potential. I got nothing else on this team though. I don't really want to. I mean, wait for the starting lineup. Jackson may draw the start again. I say Josh Jackson instead of Frank Jackson. One of the Jacksons. Do you have anything else in Detroit?
No.
They ever play on each side in this game?
Say wait for starting lineups, but Tobias Harris definitely for sure on Philly. Detroit, I'm gonna say if Grant's out, Kelly Olynyk.
All right, Utah versus Houston. 222 is the total. Houston is a 9-point dog here. Bojan Bogdanovic is questionable. This is the thing with Utah is that they're always kind of just sort of like a boring DFS team, and they all sort of get theirs, and they're all sort of priced where they should be priced, or maybe too much. And it's just a team I mostly avoid. But if one of their pieces is out, one of their key pieces, that's Bogdanovic. Then there's a trickle-down effect where Clarkson becomes someone interesting, Ingles becomes someone interesting. I would also note, I never like playing Royce O'Neal, but what does Royce O'Neal do? He's a 3-and-D guy. Houston is turning the ball over more than anybody else this season, and I know it's a small sample, but I suspect that's going to be the case going forward because KPJ is reckless with the ball. He's got a lot of talent, but he also just loves giving it away. I think they're most turnovers in the league, and especially on FanDuel, where you can get 5 or 6 stocks out of O'Neal, and he basically pays up a salary just right there. He'll hit a 3 or 2 and grab a couple boards. Never excited to roster him, but if he kind of makes everything else work, I'm okay with that. Your thoughts as far as the Utah side?
Yeah, I don't like playing roster no either, but tonight is the night I'm gonna have my player pool just for those specific reasons. The Houston turns the ball over a lot, so he makes it for a phenomenal play. Just because he can get obviously like 4 or 5 steals and a couple blocks in there, and maybe hit a couple threes. We'll see. But it's gonna be hard because to get to anyone. One thing I know is Houston has been a little bit competitive, at least in their last game against Dallas. Which was very surprising. I think it's like some of the veterans here that come off the bench, like Eric Gordon. I think DJ Augustine was there too, getting a little bit of run. They seem that they obviously want to win a little as much as they possibly can, even though Houston probably just wants to develop their guys and lose a little bit. But I definitely like Jordan Clarkson a lot, more so than anything. I think Joe Ingles is also interesting by his price point being 4.7K on
You like those guys if Bogdanovich is in?
even if Bogdanovich is in, I still like those guys just because Clarkson's still getting usage coming off the bench. Like at least on, I don't know what his usage is on DK, but right now his use on FanDuel, from what I'm seeing right now, we have it at 28.86% as his usage coming off the bench. And he's playing about 24, 25 minutes per game. And he's starting, and I like that. To me, that's a great play. He's not going to hardly be owned. He's coming at a single digit ownership, and he can give you 25 to 30 fantasy points at that price, and maybe even a little bit more, especially if he's hot. And Joe Ingles has a defensive upside too, and that's what he's known for. He's known for playing defense and knocking down the shots. So
and talking smack.
Yes, exactly. So that's not good for them young kids over there on the other side. So
it probably sounds cooler with that Aussie accent, I would imagine.
Yeah, I want to. I want to go to a game and actually see how he talks. I think it'll be kind of interesting. But yeah, I think those are the main guys as the secondary pieces. Like the main pieces you can go with, obviously, like Gobert, Conley, and Donovan Mitchell. But I don't think I'm gonna have as much of them. I'm thinking I'm gonna more so play like a guy like Royce and Joe Ingles in my lineups as like fillers and things to hold my lineup together.
Have you ever sat front row or close enough to hear the chirping? And if yes, who's the one person you remember like talking the most and saying the funniest stuff?
I definitely have. I was at the playoff game where KD put up like 49 fantasy, for like 100 fantasy points, and like had like that 49-point triple double. I don't remember, honestly. That was such a blur. That night, I don't remember what they were saying. I just know I also went to a WNBA game where Skylar Diggins was talking a lot of trash, and I was surprised. Yeah, and Diana Taurasi as well. She's my favorite WNBA player, so I was like, wow, this is you wouldn't think that women's basketball is intense, but it is.
Skylar Diggins, Notre Dame, is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, there's my WNBA knowledge. That's about it. I'll stop right there. Anything else as far as the Utah? I mean, you could always play Mitchell. It's nothing really spectacular about it. He's there. If you're running 150, play him in the pool. I know you're playing on FanDuel. Kevin Porter Jr.'s got a better price over there in FanDuel. Of course, he gets docked for all those turnovers by a full points, but the price is pretty good. Wood's another guy you can definitely play in tournaments. Tice is cheap enough, and you figure against Utah, like they're going to need his size in theory, right? They're going to play against Gobert. They're going to play against Hassan Whiteside. Like they're going to have a big out there pretty much every single time. And, Tice is not a fun roster, but I think he's 4-1. Is he 4-1 on FanDuel, 4-4 on DK? That's okay.
Yeah, that is that's an okay price to pay for him, and they are going to need him. I just hope that he gets the minutes. He's someone that you definitely just play in tournaments, I would say for sure. I would I think we have him. I don't think he's that high on. Oh, he's coming at 6%, 7% pretty much. So I would probably have about that much of him, or maybe a little bit under. But he should be out there for sure, definitely for his size and that reason. So, but I like another guy from this team. I think you mentioned Eric Gordon, who's been playing like around 26, 27 minutes, and he's coming off the bench. So with that second unit, I think he can do some damage because you'll be able to get a little bit of more shots.
If this game blows out, like Sengun can be kind of sort of somewhat interesting. He's another one of those backup centers. It's a pretty strong fantasy point minute player, and he's somebody that I would think they would want to develop. Certainly more they would want to develop Tice. That's just, when they're theoretically good, when Houston is theoretically good, Tice is not on this team, right? So yes. It's whatever. Tonight, sure, they'll definitely play him, but Let's see. Anything else of note as far as this game, or do you want to move on? Before we move on, tell me your favorite player on each side.
Joe Ingles, and probably Daniel Tice or Eric Gordon.
New York, Chicago, 216 is the total. Chicago is a 1-point favorite. We have Levine questionable, although reports are suggesting that he's going to play through a thumb injury. That makes Chicago a little bit less exciting for me. New York, they run Randall into the ground. They run all their guys into the ground, basically. I don't know if you saw the other night. They were up by like 15 with a minute left to go, and there's a timeout. And Tibbs still closed with Randall. It's like, what are you doing, man? Just let the guy chill. Did you catch that by chance? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. He just doesn't. He doesn't let off, and I don't know why. I don't know if he just wants Randall try to get like MVP this year or something. But you need your guy for the playoffs because he ran out of gas last year and didn't know what to do. So he might have to chill off a little bit.
Yeah, we see Kemba and Rose basically swapping minutes. Kemba had a great game last time out for what it's worth. This game overall, it's just nothing really pops for me. Of course, if Levine doesn't go, you're going to elevate DeRozan. You're going to elevate Ball to some degree. Caruso, I would imagine, still comes off the bench. I think they like him in the second unit. He's going to keep closing. That's just the way it's going down, and he's one of their best 5 players. I'll just kind of figure out when I get there. I don't know if there's like one player I can point to and say, well, if Levine's out, and you'd think, well, if Levine's out, somebody's got to be like massively elevated. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just everybody gets a little bit extra. Williams gets a little bit extra. DeRozan, Ball, Vuk. Your thoughts as far as this game? I'm not terribly enthused with this one.
Yeah, I'm me either. I only have I have just Randall and RJ Barrett, my player pool from New York, and on the Houston side, I have I just have the 3. I mean at Houston. On the Chicago side, I just have the 4 main guys: Ball, DeRozan, Vucevic, and Zach. But I don't think Zach's going to play. I think, but I'm not that interested in Zach. I'll be more interested, honestly, in DeMar. That's my top play, and also looking at Alonzo Ball, pretty much too on that side. And maybe running it back with like RJ or Randall. But I would definitely run it back with somebody for sure.
You like Mitch Robb on FanDuel? He's another guy that can get going from a stocks perspective. And there's no Noel.
Yeah, but with this price being at 6-1, I don't like it today. I rather get some of the lower guys.
Yeah, I mean, like Harold's taken. Well, he's a forward too, right? So you can play the multi-position eligibility. You don't have to worry about that. And that's how you can play Drummond, and you're going to play Drummond, and you're going to play Harold if, for whatever reason, Embiid doesn't play. Mm-hmm. And then every center is going to be so low owned, like everybody. If those two guys, if we get the news about Embiid, it's going to be Harold, it's going to be Drummond, and then just like nobody else is going to be rostered. You're going to get Gobert at like 2%. That's just how it's going to go. It'd be crazy. But Embiid probably plays. I don't know. He's played every game so far, so I'm guessing he does. But stay tuned. Talk to me about New York.
New York, I said, just Randall and RJ Barrett. There's only 2 guys I like on pretty much on from the price points that they're giving, and they're more so tournament plays, honestly. But I would go more towards RJ.
All right, Spurs, Dallas. We're gonna get to your questions in the chat soon enough. We have like 12, 13 minutes or so before you step aside and get out of here and make way for crunch time for premium members. Andy Means will just walk you all through how to make your cash game lineup, more or less, give you the 3-4 core plays depending on the site. And if you listen to him closely the rest of the show, he'll essentially tell you who should be in your lineup. Not directly, but just pay attention. You can figure it out. San Antonio, Dallas, 220 is the total. San Antonio is a 6-point dog here. They did lose McDermott. We saw Vassell get elevated last game. We have him right now projected to be in the starting lineup. I suppose it could be, KBD. I suppose it could be Lonnie Walker the 4th, but I think it's likely to be Vassell. And like he's a young guy, they have a lot invested in him. Draft equity and all that, and he looks legit. Keldon Johnson was kind of a bummer last game. Everybody in San Antonio crushed, but Keldon Johnson, he got in some early foul trouble and just kind of just found his way to the bench for closing purposes. I think Bates Diop is the one who closed. I'm not necessarily on that.
He was playing really well that last game, so they kept him in.
Yeah, but we're not assuming going forward. Like I'm not chasing the Bates Diop is the point I'm making. Are you with me on that?
Yeah, don't chase that at all.
There's a little bit of a sticker shock on Pirtle, but Pirtle's been crushing, and Pirtle's been getting a ton of minutes. Like finally, Pop is unleashing him, and he's been good. DeJounte Murray was phenomenal his last game. He absolutely annihilated. The price kind of adjusted to some degree, but sure, if you want to run it back with Luka, I'm not going to say you can't do it. White, it's just a bunch of guys that are fine. I don't know. Vessel's probably the best cheapie for me. when you consider the salary, what are your thoughts as far as San Antonio?
San Antonio, a Vessel, as far as the cheap guys on there, like Vessel probably is the best one. I really do like Lonnie Walker the way he's been playing last couple games too. So he's someone else I would look at for sure. But one of my favorite plays from this game and is DeJounte Murray. Even at 8.3 on FanDuel and 8.8 on DK, I would still pay that price on DK just because I know what his upside is, and I know this matchup against Dallas is going to be close, and I think he has the potential to have another monster big game here. Seems like San Antonio wants to push the pace a little bit more this year too, from previous years, at least from the game I watched when I watched them play the Lakers.
Currently 10th in the league for the records. Season's pretty early, but yeah, they're 10th right now in pace. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's more than probably what they've been in the past couple of years. So still like Pop is finally adjusting to it. So to me, Murray, White, and Keldon Johnson, this whole team to me is like probably honestly one of my favorite, if not my favorite game, one of my favorite games to attack because it's going to be it's a little bit sneaky because we already know we know pretty much the main guys on the San Antonio side who the usage goes to with Murray, White, and Keldon as their featured guys, and Podol being right there as well. But then you got guys like you said, Vassell, who's a cheap shooting guard. If he's streaking and hitting his shots consistently like he has been, Pop will encourage him to give him more run. The same thing with Lonnie Walker, who is also my player pool and who I like a lot too, coming off the bench.
The Dallas side, I'm looking at the ownership here in DK. The two highest projected guys, and it's salary reasons, obviously, is Vassell. I don't remember if it's with Vassell or Vassell. I don't recall which way it goes. Do you know? I don't know. I watched the game and I just don't know his name for some reason.
I thought it might even be Vassell, tell you the truth, but I think it is Vassell actually.
I literally watched the YouTube video. It's like to get it in my head, and for some reason I don't recall now. I just keep wanting to say it the wrong way. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So those are the two highest projected ownership guys, and Murray's 8-8 on DK, and because of that, he's 5% projected owned on a 6-game slate. Pirtle, same deal, 7-1. I don't know if you've ever seen him at 7-1, and he's 4% owned. So yeah, certainly interesting for tournaments. On the other side for Dallas, we still have a couple guys that are up in the air as far as their health. I believe it is. Let me go ahead and pull up my list. But we know Porzingis is out, Burke is out, Brown is out. Boban is questionable. He played in the other game, but everybody played in the other game. That was the game where they let everybody, but the playership council, they voted everybody gets to play, and how they made that work is that Porzingis faked an injury. I think I'm pretty sure he was
that guy.
Did you watch it? I was like, this guy looks like he's still healthy. Whatever. Maybe he's actually hurting, but yeah, he was cheering pretty hard in the sidelines, and
yeah, he was. Yeah, and like he cost me so much money the other night.
If my back hurts, I ain't moving like that, no matter how much fun I'm having watching my teammates score. All right, Luka, we're seeing a 30% ownership. He's probably the best, big stud on this slate. Ownership aside, awesome play. Even better when Porzingis is not playing. With the absence of Porzingis, they still have plenty of bodies, right? They have Cleaver, they have Willie Cauley-Stein, they have Dwight Powell, who probably starts. I think my favorite on DK, and I use that term loosely, is Maxi Kleber because he's 3-2, basically the floor. I don't want to play him, but if it opens stuff up, Jalen Brunson has been really solid. The price has worked its way all the way up to 5K. So a little bit trickier, but I think still there's a little bit of meat in the bone. Sure, why not? What are your thoughts as far as Dallas?
Luka, just play him, lock him in, or not. Well, get as much of him as you can, unless you're like me, who's gonna play some tournaments and play different, and get a little bit different and playing another stud up top, like Curry, or if not, get them both if you can. But I also love Tim Hardaway and Brunson as well. I think they're both phenomenal plays. Brunson coming off the bench and having about a 20% usage has been great. And I think we can see the same thing again, like he did the last couple night. Last night he played and have a decent game. So those are like my top 3 guys from there. I don't like playing Kleber at all, personally. So to me, I'm not going to even entertain that tonight and play him.
Yeah.
Taking a hard fade on him. I know we have Bridge Bullock coming at high ownership. I get it, I understand it, but I can't do it. He's not a guy who seems to rack up the stats sheet like that. He sometimes lucks into games where he has like 20 fantasy points. So that's someone I can't consider myself playing. Powell's good, but I want to see more minutes from Powell. Maybe he gets more minutes tonight. I don't know. They seem like they've been taking it easy ever since he came back from his injury, which was almost 2 years ago now. But I guess we'll have to see how that goes. I'll play a little bit of him. And Dorian Finney-Smith is the other guy who I think you should have a little bit in your tournaments, but be higher on like the first three. And probably my favorite out of the first three would be obviously Luka, but besides him will be like a Tim Hardaway.
Andre, terrible job by me by time management. The chat is correct to yell at me. Best game of the night. We have very little time to talk about it because we want to squeeze in the chat questions as well. 228 total. Memphis at Golden State. The late night hammer for sure. 6-point favorite for Golden State as well. Back to back for Memphis. Can you give me like your favorite plays in this game in like a minute?
Yeah, you definitely can. For sure. DeAnthony Melton is a great play. Hopefully bounce back tonight. I like Jaren Jackson as well at the forward position. And then on the other side, I think Steph Curry is going to come in probably a little bit under own from what we haven't projected at, just because we got Luka Doncic on the slate who's going to take a lot of ownership, and a couple other guys, and Bradley Beal who's cheaper as well. But I like Steph Curry a lot tonight, as well as Draymond Green. Those are like my two favorite plays on the Golden State side as well.
I would also mention that Desmond Bane is a really, really strong play on DK at 4.9. That price is wrong. Specific to DK, I like that a good bit. Let's bring Devin on for some questions, and maybe we'll have some Memphis Golden State questions as well too, if we kind of missed something there in that game. Devin, I know my time management is horrible.
Just classic. Just classic.
At a later date. I apologize to you and the chat and everybody out there. Let's knock out the questions. Lightning round.
Yeah, lightning round. I also just have to note how perfect it is that you like quote dropped Happy Gilmore. The price is wrong. Yeah, let's get to some quick lightning round questions. First one's from John, specifically for Andre. Are you playing Embiid?
No, actually, probably not, honestly, but I'll probably have a little bit, like 5%.
All right, a couple of Dean Burner questions. Yahoo Tournaments, thoughts on Steph Tobias or Luka Draymond?
Ooh, Steph Tobias if Embiid is out. Otherwise, Luka Draymond.
All right, Dean, sticking with you. Your favorite play under 30, not named JJJ for Yahoo Tournaments.
Give me a second. I'll get back to you. I'll pull up my rankings. Under $30?
Under 30, yep. Billups wants to know, I know Dre doesn't lock players, but if you did, who would be a lock and who would be a fade for tonight?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I don't like players. I should like Russell Westbrook last night. I regret that to the almost fullest. But I would say the closest player would be Montrezl Harrell. My biggest fade tonight at high ownership would be Joel Embiid coming at what he's coming in.
Need some more time, Dean?
I got Draymond at 28. 30 is a weird number on Yahoo. Just that's how it's going down. I like Capella at 25. But like you're playing Harrell at 16. You could play you have a utility spot as well too. But like everybody else is like John Morant's too cheap over there. I'll say that. He's $35. That price is too low. But also you want to get Luka and you want to get Curry and you want to get Murray at 33. Point guard is really, really strong, and it's probably a bad place to punt.
So Dean, after the height shaming earlier, how tall are you?
Who was I height shaming? Was I height shaming Andre?
No, I don't. He just gave this look like, I don't.
I'm 5'8" on a good day, and maybe like in some Timberlands, 5'8"-ish. Yeah.
That's hilarious. BJ wants to know cash core thoughts. Dean, do you want to tackle that?
Yeah, I mean Montrezl Harrell, Luka Doncic. Is there anybody else? Oh, Bane. Yeah, this is DK specific. Yeah, I would say Harrell, Bane, and Doncic.
All right. K-Town's Finest wants to know Andre for tournaments. Derrick Rose back home in Chicago.
Ooh, I mean, you can always play him. But I don't have him tonight.
All right. FanDuel Cash, Dean, Wiggins and Draymond, or DDR, Keldon, Big Body Johnson. And just to note, that lineup has Steph in it.
What was the first one again?
Wiggins, Draymond, or DDR, Keldon Johnson.
Yeah, I think it's the first one.
All right. Flores, Mark wants to know.
Bogdanovich will play.
Yeah, they both are in.
They're both playing?
And no, Bogdan and Lou Williams. They're in.
Okay, Utah Bogdanovich, we don't know yet. Atlanta, we do know.
Yeah.
Right?
What are the chances? Okay. Thoughts on Kleber with Porzingis out, and if not him, who gets the extra run?
I just gave my thoughts on it, and not to cut you off, Andre, I'm sorry, but I think it's more of a DK play. He's super, super cheap. I don't feel good about it. Again, Andre didn't like it. I don't like it. I hold my nose, and I click that button. Powell's going to get some run, but again, they have WCS lurking. Maybe they have Boban available too. But I think my favorite, I use that term loosely, is Kleber because he's 3-2.
All right. And I think the overwhelming consensus was Vassal in chat for the pronunciation.
Yeah, I saw multiple suggestions.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andre.
No, that was right. That's all.
All right, Dean, you want to take us home?
Yeah, my apologies. We're going to save some more time for chat questions. Keep firing those off. We appreciate the participation. Do hit the like button. Do subscribe. Again, later on, if you guys are playing Showdown Slate, there's a Showdown show coming up, I presume like 7:30-ish.
Nailed it.
Devin can confirm. Who's on Crunch Time tonight with one Andy Means and Kevin Roth?
It is Keith Eister, who's made his appearances all across the sports lately.
There you go. Yeah, so have at it. If you guys are premium members, make sure to check that out. They're going to tell you like if any news breaks, they'll tell you to adjust. They'll talk about if Bogdanovich goes down, all that good stuff. That's one of the perks there of having RG Premium. That said, thanks for watching. That was basketball. That was Andre. That was Devin. You guys were chat, like, subscribe, notifications, all that good stuff. I was Dean. We're out of here. Holler. Good luck tonight.